Thanks for following. Thanks for the follow, Game Dude 3232. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Yeah. Hey, how are you? Oh, echo. Sorry. I'm doing good. How about you? I'm doing quite well. Thanks for asking. Uh, I my name's Grizz Wizard. I'm a variety streamer, but most of the time I just stream whatever games I have on my computer or um D&D Homebrew. Currently I'm doing an Oracle domain cleric. So it's like, oh, they have a familiar that helps them uh see things, or they when they see things they uh like the cost of like casting a scrying spell or an arcane eye is halved for the casting of the spell. Okay, I like D&D, but I have no clue on how to make anything in D&D. That's fine. Usually homebrews are like, oh, what do you think that you can create content that you want to add on to the original game that Wizards of the Coast have created? For me, I usually create more subclass that's flavored around um fantasy or other uh stereotypes or tropes of uh the genre. Sometimes they even go other genres. Anything fun that you can think of and that you think you can add on, you can just write it down as an idea. And if you think you want to, like, let's say you want to write it down, take a look at other, like, let's say you want to create a spell or a feature that's based on a spell. Take a look at the spell itself and take a look at other features and how they are worded, so that you can like be inspired on how they word things. Like you see over here, improved familiar. Your familiar helps defend you and your allies. When you or an ally take damage from a spell or weapon attack, you can use your reaction to send your familiar and have the familiar take the incoming damage instead. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of first level or higher to use this feature again. Like that's how I create things, and I think that's how a lot of homebrewers do it. You can ask them for inspiration as well if you like. Hmm. Now for this wording, I want to take inspiration from the barbarian, because in Oracle, right, you're like a seer that is always perceiving things or like having visions and stuff like that. So where's is it no? For instincts. If you are surprised at the beginning of a round and aren't incapacitated, you can act normally on your first turn. Yeah, something along like that. Hmm. If you're surprised at the beginning of combat and incapacitated, you can act normally on your first turn, but only if you what before doing anything else on that turn. Okay, what would the cleric do? Only if you expend a spell slot of, this is a 6th level feature, of 3rd level or higher. I think 2nd level should be fine. Before doing anything else on that turn. In addition, you have advantage on initiative rolls. Oh, actually, I'm working on a Isekai campaign. Got any tips on that? Isekai tips. This seems like a very anime inspired uh campaign. Okay. Uh, I've never run anything like that before, but I think okay, usually in Isekai, the main characters, aka because I'm a filthy weeb. I mean, aren't we all? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Uh, okay. Usually, Isekai, the protagonists, or in this case, our heroes in the campaign, they will be aware that they're in a different world, right? So I think you can play along that idea where, like, oh, you set up how they die, and just like you know how Konosuba have like, oh, they're in front of a god or goddess of death, and they have to like choose how they want their next life to be like, or something like that. And then maybe you can like spin off some ideas from there. I mean, what do you think? That sounds nice, but another trope Isekai used are being summoned, so maybe that can work. Huh. I guess that's kind of works, but okay. Like, what are your players' levels? Like, I'm assuming there'll be like higher levels if they're gonna be summoned, but if they start off as low levels and they're gonna grow, um, how do you think they're gonna summon? Do they just summon once and then go back to their own world? They're starting low. Okay. I think maybe if if they're summoned, maybe something goes haywire in the summoning, and so that's why they're now stuck in this world, and their mission is to try to find a way back home, and from there you can have like shenanigans and whatever, like and maybe some like not metagaming because metagaming is not no fun, but fourth wall breaking moments like well I was thinking of summoning them in a dire situation like why they were summoned. Okay. then you're gonna have to think about like, oh, why, like, who was the summoner, and who are these characters that this summoner is able to summon them somehow. For example, a prince summons heroes to help save his king in a cave nearby, but by ritual maybe. Okay. Uh. Okay, maybe then I think you want them to explore the world like after they fight. This is gonna be a very explorationable heavy campaign, it sounds like. So have you ever heard of a hex crawl? Or what is it called? Let me search it on uh a Western March, I think it's called. Yeah, these kind of like, it's basically tabletop role playing game, but it's there's a map where the players can pick and choose which direction they want to go, and in each map there's like a grid. I'm explaining it very very well. I was like very very badly. Let me re-explain it. Okay, there's a map that has a grid, and the characters start somewhere on that grid. The characters will then have to explore the map one by one uh to find their objective. Usually is to like, oh, get resources, oh, to defeat an enemy, but they have to find where that enemy is first of all. And usually in these kind of campaigns they cannot take a long rest while while they are exploring. They can only take a short rest, and if they want to take a long rest they need to travel back to their home or their starting point. So usually their starting point is in a city. Oh, that sounds useful. Yeah, it is. I played on two Western March so far, and they're really really fun. I think this could work in like an Isekai campaign. You can experiment and uh, you know, communicate with your players and see if they're up for it. You know. I mean, is this a great idea for you? I think it's pretty fun way of playing D&D. I played it with some of my friends. I managed to create like a fireball wizard, a school of invocation wizard. I mean, it's my first time as a guild game master. Nice. Good luck. I am not a very experienced one, but I've done a few games and sessions. Some some things you can only gain through experience, but the most important thing that you should do as a GM is one, have a session zero. Communicate with your players, one, to see like, oh, what to lay down the like, what's it called, the lines like, oh, um this is this campaign I'm setting up is this kind of game. There will be these kind of themes, there will be these kind of words or uh, stuff like that, and if you have anything against that, let it be known now, so that I can make changes to my campaign, so that everyone can be comfortable and be happy, you know? Because uh, your responsibility as a GM is to make sure that everyone on the table is having fun in a safe and comfortable environment. All right, and in the session zero, you help out your players to create their characters. So like, oh, they don't understand what this feature does. You can explain it to them on the spot, or if they need reminding later in the campaign, you can do so then as well. But usually, session zero is very important to set the ground rules. Once you have that session zero done, you can start having a session one. Like when I started out GMing, I didn't do session zeros, and there was like some things like didn't go as well as I hoped. It's like a session before the session. It's something like that. Yeah, it's like a talk. Like you don't actually play the game yet in session zero. In session zero, you talk things out with your players. You talk things out. You make sure that they are all let's say me as a player, I am not comfortable with spiders, and you as the GM put spiders in the game in the campaign, and I am uncomfortable with that. I would tell you that, and it's like, oh, I don't want any more spiders in the game. That could all have been avoided if you just have a session zero and talk with the player, saying that, hey, what are your fears? What are you comfortable with? What are you uncomfortable with? So it's like to see what I can do and what I can't do. Yeah, basically, um, it's to make sure that everyone has fun. You know, like as a GM, you want to communicate with your players. You want to ensure that, oh, what you put in your game will be fun for everyone. And if you put something in that they find wrong or they find uncomfortable or they just don't like it in your game, um, and they tell you, it's criticism, and that's another thing you want to do after a session. You want to ask them for feedback and say like, oh, what do you like about the game? What do you dislike about it? What can I improve? Is there anything that yeah, you definitely want to make sure everyone is okay with my this. Yes, definitely. I'm glad you get it, game dude. When's your game, by the way? Oh, I don't know. I'm still making the story. I want the world to feel like an actual world. Yeah, sure. What are you basing your world off of? Is this I'm assuming this is homebrew settings. In D&D there's different settings. There's like the Pathfinder setting, there's the Forgotten Realms. Yes, alright. Nice, nice. Your connection with your familiar has reached its peak when you take the attack action. Actually, yeah, then I don't want spellcasting. I want what's called Divine Strike. Your connection with your familiar has reached its peak when you take the attack action on your turn. You can have your familiar attack with you when you do so. I was thinking of making a setting where problems are masked by society, because usually you see that in a lot of fantasy anime in general, like the poor struggling while the rich get to be lazy. Okay, that's like that's a typical trope in a lot of anime and stories. Hmm, that's fine, I think. But how is the point of masking society's problems with aims for the isekai type? Like, is the heroes going to be fighting the rich and capitalism to find a way back home? Like, I understand isekai is like, oh, being dropped into another world and now you live there. But whenever you create a campaign, or whenever I create a campaign at the very least, I usually think about what's the objective of my players, where are they gonna go, and who are they fighting? Like, who's the big bad guy of the entire campaign that will actually give a challenge to your players, you know? So like in Konosuba, they have like the demon lords, right? Or in what other isekai anime is there? I can't think of any at the moment. ReZero starting a life in an yes, ReZero. Where that guy was dropped into a fantasy world and met this elf girl, right? And then had to survive in that world, or else if he okay, spoilers, but if he dies, it resets the timeline, right? And he goes back to the beginning. Actually, in my head, I was thinking of them doing their usual stuff until a supernatural causes them to be transported to the isekai world. Okay, it seems here's a better idea. Maybe not a better idea, but here here seems to be like an interesting idea where oh there are two worlds that exist and they overlap each other, kind of similar to how in D&D there's the prime material world, which is like the actual setting where your heroes are, the Feywild, and the Shadowfell. These three planes of existence, these three worlds, exist in their own world, but they overlap in different planes of existences. So maybe you can do something similar like that, like oh, there's two worlds that overlap each other, and sometimes due to some circumstances, the characters will cross over to the other world, and they have an adventure there for a session, and then and then at the end of the session they come back. Oh, like a multiverse type of thing. Yeah, kind of similar to like that. Yes, I think that could be worked into your campaign. I think that would be kind of interesting, like an episodic isekai session where like in the campaign you're traveling to this new world and you fight monsters, you grow as a person, you find difficulties, you know, and you grow as a character, you grow as because in D&D you're creating a story, but it's not just you who are creating the story. You're working with the players to create a story. So how you set up that multiverse will help your players grow and find each other to fight together to become a team. D&D is all about a hero's journey. Or like if they are students after school, they are transported into a world, and until they get an objective done, they can't go back until they finish. They did this trope in an anime actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can do that as well. when you do so, um, your familiar takes its turn. And then I have to give stats for it, right? No, wait, they already have stats. Okay. Let me take a look at the find familiar spell. Yeah, creating a multiverse, the planes, planar travel, astral plane, the ethereal plane, Feywild, Shadowfell, the inner planes, the outer planes, the other planes. But it's kind of restricted to the players since it's forcing the players to do the one objective. Well, I can see your point. That could be a problem. Or you can have like the story connect with that objective, like or whatever the players do. You know, you can like use it as fodder or inspiration to like the grander schemes of things. You know. So yeah, so like this was the like multiverse that I was like saying earlier. You have the astral plane, the plane of eldritch gods, uh, the ethereal plane, the plane of ghosts, the Feywild, the realm of elves and fairies and life, the Shadowfell, the realm of death. And in each plane, they have like different layers. So like there's the inner planes, there's the outer planes, and they have like different ways of traveling. So usually there's portals in your world. You can have this portal stationary at any place. You don't have to force them to do that one objective. Like in D&D, it's just to have fun. What sucks is that I can think of some stuff, but right now I can't think of anything. Hmm. Okay. Well, in every adventure, there's like a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? That's why it's like a story. And how you begin is like, oh, everyone's isekai to this world, like oh, so it's like oh, they explore this extraordinary world been that they stumbled into. Like how Narnia, the children all stumble into the wardrobe and get transported into this other world, and it's so fantastic and whimsical. But then halfway through the movie, spoilers for the movie. But I think everyone's seen it at this point. Like in the middle of the movie, things start turning darker when they introduce the queen, the Frost Queen, the Snow Queen. So yes, in the beginning, have it be a fantastical wonder where your players can explore this other world, and in the middle, introduce a bad guy who has their own goals, and now this it's a race against time for your heroes to fight this bad guy, and then the ending is usually the climax where it's like a big showdown fight. You know, that's fine as well. Dropping them in a cave where they had a fight with goblins, It's fine. It's like a introduction. I don't know if your players are veteran players and you're just the new dungeon master slash GM and you're dipping your toes into GMing, or did you just is every oh they are also new. Okay, if everyone's new, it's fine. You're all learning D&D. It doesn't have to be perfect. But out of all of us, you have the most experience. That's great. That's great. Um, yeah, just follow these elements of a great adventure. It's a story where there's a beginning, middle, and end. There's like a threat that challenges the heroes and their worldly views or their current assessment of their world. Have plot twists where like, oh, the villain isn't actually the villain. It's actually the summoner who summoned the heroes, and they want to like genocide the entire race of a race of elves or whatever. And now it's the hero's dilemma to like, oh, do I do I go home? Do I kill this entire race and then go home and never be seen again in this world, or do I does my moral value say, oh, I need to turn on the summoner and kill the summoner. I may never be able to go home again, but at least I'm doing justice. Or will your heroes fight and bicker, you know? But that's basically nothing. Eh, these are just some ideas that I'm spewing out. You can think about it. You know, when you take the attack action on your turn, you have your familiar attack with you. When okay, I need the find familiar spell. Okay, they can take the form of a bat, cat, crab, frog, hawk, lizard, octopus, owl, poisonous snake, a fish, rat, raven, seahorse, spider, or weasel. Though it is a subclass or fiend of your choice instead of a beast. It rolls its own initiative and acts on its own turn. A familiar can attack. But I'm saying now with the Oracle, this familiar can attack. That is a good idea. So I was thinking of having the players as a more neutral thing, like a tale that every 100 years heroes will be summoned to help whoever they please. Okay. So the objective is just a random event that causes people to be summoned and they are now heroes in this world. And the main objective of these heroes is to help a person. Can be any person. They can help a woman cross the street and then they can just go home. Uh okay. A bit lackluster, I think. I mean, I'm sure you can do better than that, right? I'm sorry if I am like disrespect. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was just my first thought. I mean, usually when I've began GMing, I usually start with one shots. I have like a theme, a central idea on what to do, and then from there, the players will have their own choose their own adventure story where they can have they can fight, they can argue, they can flirt with the NPCs, they can uh lie to the NPCs. This is another world. D&D in itself is like, oh, another world, and you're creating characters to drop them into this world. They have their own backstories and they have their own families. So creating a little isekai is actually kind of meta. It was like D&D within D&D. That is already a good idea. I just think you're gonna need a better objective than to help whoever they please. On the familiar's turn. No, you can have your familiar attack with you as a bonus action on your turn. You can command your familiar to make an attack roll on their turn to deal 5d8 slashing. Okay, what are the different damage types of D&D again? Uh, yeah, you're right. Well, it's 5 in the morning for me. I should get some sleep. I'll see you later. Have a good day. I woke up at 1, which was oh no. Yeah, have a good That's a pretty good idea. Have a good sleep, gamer dude. That's like game dude 3232. Thanks for following me. I hope you had a great time chatting with me. If you wanna have more of my content, you can follow me on Twitter. There's a link to Discord server, which also I'm pretty active there. I do talk about other games, more D&D related things. It's no problem. I'm glad you learned a lot. Have a good sleep, all right? Sweet dreams. Good night. The invite is invalid. What? Oh, is the invite not permanent? The code? Okay. You know what? Uh, your invite link expires in 7 days. No wonder. Okay. I'm gonna need to whisper to you the link then. Uh, let me whisper to you the link. Yeah, you can join me on my Instagram, my YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and the Discord link. I update when I am going to go live on stream on Twitter, and you can see my past streams on my YouTube channel. Uh, and if you And if you want, you can also catch me on Saturday night where I'm actually hosting game night this time. I'll be playing with the boys some Betrayal at House on the Hill. It's gonna be a fun time. Nice. Gamer D dude. Yeah, it's gonna be really really fun. I hope to see you there this Saturday. If you want, you can join us as well. You can play. I'm gonna wait 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Okay. It says I have to be a member for at least 10 minutes? Interesting. Okay. Never seen that one before. But yeah, if you got Tabletop Simulator, you can join me and some friends play Betrayal at House on the Hill this Saturday night. I always stream around 8 p.m. GMT plus 8. I streamed early today because I'm going to be playing D&D later. I have a session. I'm pretty excited to play my Alchemist. It's gonna be pretty fun. Dang, bro, Tabletop Simulator. I'm too poor to buy it. Oh no. Alright, I hope to see you there. Thanks for the follow again. Go get some sleep. I'm sure you're pretty tired. Thanks, I will. Goodbye. All right, I think this completes the subclass. I think this is pretty much done. Yeah. Thanks for uh anyone who's still here watching. Uh, and for YouTube, who's ever is watching, have a great day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.